Welcome back to our segment of investor success, where today we've got an investor with capacity to borrow $800,000 and wanted to buy, or they thought they wanted to buy into the city. Okay, so what we did was unpacked what that could look like for them in comparison to buying regional, desirable, affordable locations with extremely strong demand at the moment in buying two assets for that same amount and the benefits associated with that and how we could apply strategy to two versus one. Also, two incomes versus one and the yield difference and how that all works. So today we're going to unpack that and I'll hand over to Alex to explore this.
So what was really important to these investors was that the cash flow position did not impact their day-to-day lifestyle. Lifestyle was very important to them. They like to eat out, travel, all those nice things that we like to do in life. So they did not want investment to become a burden to them. So when we looked at this $800,000 purchase and the rents that might have been possible, now they were actually looking at a block next door to their inner Brisbane home. So once we actually looked at that and did the comparison with two properties here in regional locations and how they might have been able to diversify their portfolio, it really did come down to a numbers play, and it was really quite evident that given they didn't want to impact their lifestyle, that this was going to be a great option for them. So what we have is that in 2020, when we started this journey with these investors, is in Southeast Queensland, we bought property one for $325,000. Now this property was a 3-bed, 1-bath with the capacity to add a bedroom and a bathroom under the existing roof space.
So a value add strategy.
A value add strategy.
Right.
Now these investors had no plans currently to do any value adding, but this was a little trick they wanted to keep up their sleeve to generate equity and also increase income into the future. So in the current condition, this property in Southeast Queensland was generating $340 per week. Now this was a slight push on the market rent at the time, and through our guidance, we were able to achieve this within just days of listing the property. As you can see, the vacancy rate in the area was very, very low, so rental demand was high, and still now that this tenant has renewed their lease and they're still in that property, and this has since increased just ever so slightly also. Now, fast forward to 2021, when we come back to this scenario and we're looking at property number 2. Now, we're just under contract now on property number 2, and this is a great little property in regional Victoria. Now, this property, we placed an offer at $490,000. Now, through some negotiations, we actually got rid of $5,000 from this offer price. So this was reduced to $485,000. Now, that's not it though. Once the building and pest was done, there were a few items that needed to be rectified. Now, these vendors had been owner-occupiers and they had moved on, lived busy lives, and they were now in their new property. So what they offered was actually a $5,000 price reduction instead of rectifying the items themselves. Now, through our support as buyer's agents and an ongoing end-to-end premium service, we've offered to assist these clients to rectify these items. Now, what this has meant is that an original offer price of $490,000, these clients have actually picked up this property for $480,000. And as I mentioned, through our support, the items from the building and pest inspection that need to be rectified, we're currently getting rectified to around $1,000. So by knocking $10,000 off the purchase price, we're going to have all the items rectified for around $1,000 ready for tenancy before settlement.
So let's just quickly unpack that for a moment. So that was the agreed price. We've had the building and pest inspection done. There were some defects, some minor non-conformances. We put it back onto the vendor to resolve those as part of that clause as part of the contract.
Yes.
They didn't want to do that, but they were prepared to deduct the contract price, and at our expense and time, we would go in there and rectify those issues.
Yes, absolutely. And that's not always the result that we want. Sometimes we would prefer the vendors to take on those issues and rectify them themselves. In this vendor's situation, it was not preferable for them. So this is where we really work with a vendor to understand their motivations and what's important to them for a win-win scenario for all. And as you can see from the numbers here, for what's going to be a $9,000 gain essentially for our clients, this is a fantastic outcome just for needing to coordinate some very basic works.
And some less stamp duty.
Some less stamp duty,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now onto the rental appraisal and what's being achieved from a rental perspective for this property. So a rental appraisal for this property is coming at $460 per week. Now, given the rental demand in these areas that we are very, very familiar with, as you can see, the vacancy rates here, 0.48%. Now this property is currently listed at $490 per week. So as you can see, we have pushed the boundaries here yet again, like we did here with the Southeast Queensland property. And based on our research and our knowledge of these areas, $490 per week we believe is going to be extremely achievable. So that's going to amount to an amazing cash flow position, again for these clients who, as I said, didn't want their lifestyle impacted.
Yeah, and let's sort of talk about this fact here at 0.48%, and you're sort of confident and certain in being able to get that $490 a week, not the appraised $460. That number there creates competition.
Definitely.
For tenants. You know, it's tightly held in that location. There's not many properties. 3% is a healthy range of vacancy rates. We're at 0.48%. So we're seeing demand in the marketplace to the point where we know we can challenge the price point here on a weekly basis. Because what we can do is inflate that price or push that price to a fair market rate with what we believe. What that is then going to do is, based on a yield, is improve the value of our asset.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing about this particular property is that it has got points of difference. It's very centrally located. It's one of the only 4x2s, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom properties that is centrally located in this regional Victoria area. So whilst we can find comparables as a 4-bedroom, 2-bath out in the suburbs, the location for this property, and that it's got some real quirkiness and some real charm about it. It's got some real points of difference.
It's cute.
It's very cute.
Yeah.
So, and well renovated. So it's going to be picked up in a heartbeat by, a tenant in an owner-occupier area, but very, very close to town.
And that was the brief of the client, really. They didn't want to have to go in and roll the sleeves up and do many things to the property because they were interstate. That's where they reside. So they didn't want to have to add value to the property. It also means that they would have to input some capital to extract that further value and that work. They didn't want the headspace for that. They wanted something that was this position, cute, quirky, ready to go, hot off the press, end of the conveyor belt, in you go.
In you go. So there we have it. We've got a client who originally would have liked to have purchased the block next door, but they had no research or any reason to think that it was going to be a strong investment.
In the city.
In the city, that was going to use all their borrowing capacity, be negatively geared and cost them money week after week to keep this property ticking over.
Get somewhere between $650 and $700 a week,
And probably need capital for renovations as well.
Yeah.
So as you can see, as a result, in 12 months, we've now purchased them 2 properties. We've diversified their portfolio, so they now own in Brisbane City, Southeast Queensland and regional Victoria, and we'll be looking to do some slight works to this SEQ property, as I mentioned, the bedroom and the bathroom, so that we can generate some equity, increase some cash flow, and look at property number 4 in the future.
And we've got the $800,000 that was allowable, that was their capacity. We've also got that as projected rental income from that city investment, but we've diversified into 2 regional locations, and we're getting in excess of $830 to $840 a week versus that. So we've got 2 forms of income, not one. So if one is vacant for a period of time, this doesn't tell us so, but if it does, we've still got an income on the other asset, which is very important. And we've got 2 assets we can add value to, increase equity, increase cash flow versus one. So hope you've seen the benefits of that today, guys. Join us next time.